Hello, this is Marc Breslow with Arlington Public News, and we're here today with Senator Ken Donnelly, who represents Arlington and some other nearby areas. And we're going to be speaking with the Senator today about some very important issues in the workplace. Senator, I know that you've been very concerned with issues and problems around low-wage workers and how we can improve their circumstances. Can you talk with us about what those issues are and what can be done about them?
Sure. Thank you, Mark. That's really, there's a lot of things that we can talk about. But first, thank you for having me on today. I always enjoy coming and talking to the citizens of Arlington. Low-wage workers in the whole issue of what we're doing in the State House is very, very important. Tomorrow we'll be debating the welfare reform bill. And part of that welfare reform bill would be workforce training. And the reason why that's important is when you start looking at the wages of some of our low-wage workers, it's very difficult for them to be able to buy the things they need. And the issues that what people, I think, have to understand is when we don't pay people a fair wage, when we have people that are not being productive and not working, society pays the price. We pay that by having to supplement people's wages with food assistance, housing assistance, the health care, and a lot of other programs, because if you're not making enough money to have a living wage, then you need assistance and you need help. So it's so important to be addressing these issues on workforce development, on minimum wage, and on a lot of areas on how we can get people back to work.
How high would the minimum wage need to be in order for people really to be able to live on it?
People shouldn't mistake minimum wage with a living wage. Mm-hmm. Minimum wage we're looking to increase to, there are a couple of proposals. One is for $11 an hour. I prefer the one that says $12 an hour. We need to increase it so that it will help, but make no mistake, that's not a living wage. Mm-hmm. This would help for people that are working, in some cases working 2 jobs and 3 jobs to try to make ends meet. If you look at the city of Boston and the greater Boston area, in order to make a living wage, you would have to be in a family of 3, family of 4, you'd have to be in excess of $40,000 to be able to even make somewhat of a living wage.
Do you have a sense for how much of that can be affected by education as opposed to bringing the whole economy back, right? The whole national economy, so that everybody's unemployment is lower? Yeah,
I think that it's the issue is what they're projecting is there will be jobs. Mm-hmm. There will be jobs. We need to make sure that people are qualified to do those jobs.
The needs for job training and education are important, and I'm sure there's also lots of other areas within the state budget that are important, and the Senate and the House are dealing with the budget right now. How tight is it to try to find money for anything?
Well, it's getting better. I think there's money there, and I think that people realize, and we, there are a group of us that keep saying that, and I think that it's resonating, that if we can train and make sure that we make citizens productive and working, then the taxes, we actually increase our tax money. We put more people to work, we're bringing more people in. Less people need our help and our assistance. And so it's worth it. It's an investment. And, and it's, Mark, it's a good, it's one that sometimes frustrates me as a senator. And when you hear people talk about, they want to cut,
yeah,
then I think we all realize that the only way that you go forward is to invest. And when we invest in these items, I think that we put people to work and we get more tax dollars. So I think the economy is better when we make sure that we invest in those areas that are going to put people back to work, make them tax-paying citizens that look at. We all, we know that they all want to be.
Sure. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about in these areas?
We need to get back to where we allow people to have the American dream. Mm-hmm. And that means that we have to give people the opportunity to have jobs and make decent wages, just like my dad did. Just like we come back and we actually had a society that worked when we had a tax rate and we had wage inequality that was balanced. Now what we have is we have the top 1%, and people will start saying that we're doing this bashing of the top 1%. But in this country, we've watched our wage inequality increase dramatically, where the top are making so much money, and the bottom people that are working hard are really having a tough time surviving and being able to address that. And it started since 1980, that wage inequality, and we've and I guess my frustrating part is what we're doing is the middle class keeps falling behind, and what we're doing is we're bashing the people at the bottom end instead of looking at the top to say, what has happened here. Just give you an example. When you back in 1980, if you went to the University of Massachusetts, you probably paid $2,000 a year. Now, a middle-class family has a real tough time paying the tuitions in places like the University of Mass. So we need to make sure that people direct their anger in the right places, not at the people that are working 2 or 3 jobs and struggling to make ends meet. We need to balance this again and make sure that we go back to what we had when my dad came out of World War II, was able to go to work without, and work at a regular job and raise a family and have a house and do all those things. Because in the end, Mark, I don't think anybody can say that we have less wealth than we had back then. We have more, but it's in the hands of a lot fewer people.
Thank you very much for being with us today,
Great.
Senator Donnelly. I think this has been very enlightening. I've appreciated talking with you, and I hope we'll be able to have you back here again in the future.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.